And I get it set up over here. Yep, keep going. Do you want me to let some people in now?
It's up to you. I typically like start a webinar, at time, and then like people kind of get in and get settled while we're, getting ready.
Okay.
It's up to you.
Have us streaming live now. Just started that part. So let's do that. So we can just have people say hello. Let's get in. Cool. Hello, Janet and John.
Good morning.
Good morning. So where are you hailing from?
I'm just here in the San Fernando Valley.
Okay, so you're local next to me. What about you, John?
Brentwood, Northern California.
Okay, okay, a little further up. I'm here in Los Angeles.
Oh, yeah. Both Calis.
Yeah. And for us, we have a Brentwood too, but then I have to say no, but it's the city of LA, Brentwood.
Right, yeah, exactly. And my wife just came back from Santa Barbara, and so you guys have some beautiful weather out there.
Yeah, for now. Which, we've been spoiled, but, we had a little rain. So it's like, oh my God. And what about you, Chris? Where do you hail from?
I'm also from the San Fernando Valley.
Okay.
Yeah,
I grew up in Sylmar.
Oh, that's where I live, Sylmar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Joyce, I see we have you on the call, but you're coming in from Maryland, DC, right?
Yes, hi. I am actually in Virginia.
Virginia, I'm sorry.
Right. No, that's okay. Close to DC, about half an hour from DC.
Okay, well, it's kind of close.
Yeah.
It's good to see you.
You too.
And I know we got Hiroko, who's coming in from Marina Del Rey.
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm good.
A lot of California folk.
Yeah.
Well, I'm in St. Louis.
And you're in St. Louis. How's the weather there?
It's a little chilly. It's not too bad. It's like this kind of weather, right? Little long sleeve shirt, no hoodies or, need for sorels or anything like that. But also I'm not wearing my bikini either. So that's someplace in the middle.
Oh, I guess that's good. Guys, we're going to give it, it's 11 o'clock on the dot. So we'll give it a couple more minutes before we get started, okay? Just give it a couple more minutes. But we are streaming live, just letting you know.
Great. Where are you streaming it to?
Let's see. It's going to 8 places. It's on YouTube, LinkedIn, a few Facebook pages and groups I have. Because I'm seeing it right now.
All right.
Yeah, LinkedIn, 5 Facebook groups, 3 Facebook pages. Very good. You also turn off. All right. There's a few more. Cool. Let's give it a few. Everybody get log on here. There's that. We got the comments there. I'm loving this restream.
Are you? I
Yeah,
haven't pulled the trigger on it yet, but I'm very interested in it.
yeah, it puts all the comments in one section from all the different pages.
That's great.
Let's see. Yeah. And just you is in the groups. Perfect. Okay. Well, I want to go ahead and get started. And I have people I got rid of the waiting room so people could join us as they come in. So let's get started. Welcome to our deal finding session today, everyone. I'm Tawny English, a Los Angeles real estate broker and a Beverly Hills branch manager of eXp Realty here in California. And as part of my goal to help my fellow realtors to unleash more business in 2023, I'm hosting today this live deal finding session with Benson Juarez, who has been investing for over 20 years, and he's also a realtor. And he's one of the owners of Privy. Privy has a reverse real estate strategy which helps realtors and investors to reverse engineer the process of successful real estate investment company. So today, Vincent is going to show us some awesome ways of finding deals. At least 5 deals today he is going to show us. So with no further ado, welcome, Benson.
Thank you, Tawny. I appreciate it. Nice introduction. Thanks for having me, you guys. I don't get a chance to present to mostly realtor type groups these days. But I really enjoy it because that's where I, kind of began my career. I'm still licensed. I'm actually licensed out of Colorado. That's where I'm based out of. I just happen to be in St. Louis at the moment because I'm out here buying real estate. And California has challenges with deal flow and prices, and it's hard to make the 1% rule work or whatever people use to measure what's going to be a viable real estate opportunity. And so I was looking for a new market, and I really had to figure out, like, how am I going to find a new market to go and invest in? And so me being one of the owners of the product, I was able to get in and look at the data to figure out some of the best areas to invest where I can get good prices. I can buy 5 houses for the price of 1 here in St. Louis compared to Colorado. And also we target what are called high investor activity areas. Now there's all different strategies for finding quote unquote deals. And for some people it's a rental property, or it's, a fix and flip, and others it's, like a wholesale deal, or it's, a short-term rental. And really a deal is like getting a property at a discount, right? Like if you can get a property at a discount, all the other extra strategies kind of fall into place. And then you can figure out what strategy works for you. So I chose the St. Louis market because the data led me here. And so I want to show you kind of the strategy here, and hopefully this will get your wheels turning, and I'll give you some ideas on how you can leverage data to be able to find opportunities in your own backyard, but potentially outside your local market. Because, realtors are typically located in their own backyard, right? You're licensed in one market. And so to think that you can maybe do stuff outside your state doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but I'm going to show you some ways where, if you see the light today, that you can find opportunities either for yourself if you invest, or for your clients in other markets besides where you're currently located. So what you see on the map right here is our current coverage map. So we're a platform that's very unique. One of the things that we do is we go and we negotiate data contracts directly with MLSs. So wherever you see blue on the map is where we've already negotiated a direct data feed from that local market MLS. And so, as you can imagine, we go through compliance, and there's a lot of hoops to jump through, and we have to manage the data and make sure that it's in accordance with what our agreement is. The blue or the red is our MLS markets coming soon. So those are markets that we've started the process. We've either submitted an application, or we're in some state of compliance, or the data is with us. We're just getting it ready to deploy. Anywhere where you see black and yellow is either third-party MLS data, or it's public record data. So we have all of the owner information, mortgage information, deed data in our system as well as off-market leads. So a lot of people like to go and target, say, like absentee owners or foreclosures to try to find listings, or to potentially find opportunities for your investor clients. So I've seen some really kind of, what would you say, excited agents go out and actually look for off-market opportunities for their clients because they know that they can list the property on the back end. So, a lot of agents like to do that, to find listings or to find off-market opportunities for their clients. And so I'm going to show you how you can do that today as well. And then this third party here is information we get from a third party aggregator company. It's actually a really large title company. And they give us that data so you can still, run comparables and analyze properties in, let's say, like Montana. It just doesn't come direct from MLS. So it's not as up to date. So the direct to MLS areas is a raw data feed. So it updates several times per hour, and it includes photos and status updates and price reductions and agent information, all in our CMA report. And as I mentioned earlier, I was trying to find a new market to go and invest, and I chose St. Louis. And people might be thinking, well, St. Louis, well, why St. Louis? Well, right at the top right here, we actually track investor activity. So the best way for me to find a deal for my strategy, because I do buy and hold, I also do fix and flip, but I also do wholesale deals too. So if I click this one button right here at the top, what that does is it plots on the map where all the fix and flips are at nationwide. Now, I'm not saying that you need to do a fix and flip strategy or your client does, but usually the way we measure how good a deal is by looking at the percentage of ARV, right? What discount can we get from the percentage of the after repair value? And the after repair value is determined by renovated homes. So you're unable to determine the percentage of ARV in a property if it's in this big hole in South Dakota because there's no flipped houses. So what that leads you to do is not go and look for deals in South Dakota. And one thing I know about realtors is they basically just do what their clients say to do, right? They don't typically give advice on, a better strategy. It's like if somebody says, hey, I want to find an investment property in 90210, then where do you look? Well, you look for it in 90210, even if it's not the best place for them to be looking, right? Because that's just what we're taught to do. But there's a better way. What you should be doing is saying, you know what, we can look there, but you're probably going to find better opportunities in this market. And let me show you the data that proves why, right? That's a better approach. So you wouldn't want to look for properties based off of a percentage of ARV in South Dakota, right? Now, where would you look? Well, you look in areas where you see larger circles with higher numbers, and those are what we call high investor activity areas. Okay, so if we scroll down here, and there's activity there's a lot of people here from California, but if we kind of dive into the California market, I actually personally chose not to go to California because it didn't have high enough investor activity for my approach. But there are certain areas that have high investor activity. So let's say we were going to look at the Southern California market, and this is better than middle California, or even way better than Northern California. Where you see this 495 is the hottest area. So if I drill down right here into the 495, this property cluster breaks up, and then we get to see specifically which neighborhoods are hot for finding opportunities. So right in here, right? So let's kind of drill down, and I call this area the four corners. So it's where the 110 and the 105 cross. So you got Compton and Watts down here in this area, and you got Inglewood and USC up in this corner. I actually used to live over here in West Hollywood about 7 years ago. So I'm a little familiar with this, but the data actually is a better angle to go. When I chose St. Louis, I was actually buying property here before I even saw any of them. I was just buying them 100% virtually. So once we get close enough, these clusters will break up into the individual properties that comprise those clusters. So every one of these properties is a flip. Okay, and then how do we identify a flip? Well, it's a property that was purchased, fixed up, and sold, and they bought it lower than 75% of the after repair value. Now, in California, I mean, about a year ago, like I was seeing people buy stuff at like 82, 83% of the ARV for flips, which is crazy. And it's probably still up to 80% right now, but I decided at 75, and it's all adjustable. But if somebody bought a property at 50% of the ARV, it's still going to be included in this data set. We just set a cap. Because if we go to like 90%, then that could be a property that really just appreciated because of a hot market, and there was 2 sales. But what we're trying to find is forced appreciation, right? A flip. Now, again, I'm not trying to say that you need to do flips or your clients do, but that's the easiest way to find a deal, is by finding the unrenovated house next to the house that was flipped. Now, maybe that unrenovated house doesn't have to be a total like trashed out home that, you know, was a burnout or, you know, something like that. It could be just be a dated home that needs updating. And well, the other thing I like to say is that a rising tide raises all ships. When you're in an area where there's high investor activity and people want to move there and the neighborhoods are improving, guess what happens? Rents go up, right? Rents go up.
Right.
And then also you see kind of what the trend is in these neighborhoods around here, where you start to see the gentrification, and there's a higher rate of appreciation in these neighborhoods. So if you if you get a buy and hold or a short-term rental, your rate of appreciation is going to be greater in those areas where there's lots of investor activity. And next thing you know, what's happening? Well, the city is putting in new street lamps, and they got new covered park benches, and they've got, you know, they're repaving streets and fixing potholes. And so it's kind of like this snowball effect. So targeting these high investor activity areas is a good strategy in general. If you're doing 100% rentals, then we will be adding in some new data sets here in the near future. We're partnering with a large company that's an online company, kind of like a Hot Pads, that has tons of rental data. So you'll be able to run an analysis here to find properties based off of cap rates, cash on cash return, gross yield. That's coming. We do have rental data in many markets, but only in where there's agents use the MLS to list rental properties.
Gotcha.
So if they don't use MLS to list rental properties, then we won't have rental data in those markets.
Okay. What markets do you have the rental data in?
It depends on a case by case. So wherever you see black rent comps is where we have rental data. So like this one, there's a couple in here. So these are MLS rental comps.
Okay.
So CRMLS is one of the ones we have it for. Okay. So this property right here, this is a house that was just flipped. Okay. This is our comparative market analysis. And you know as well as I do that it takes time to go and pull comps and analyze properties and build these reports for ourselves and for our clients. But what Privy does is we're actually building one of these for every property in the US 24/7, and it's always live updated. So you know, we pull in the property information. CRMLS actually is one of the markets that doesn't allow us to show the agents right now. But in other direct MLS markets, you'll have the brokerage name and the agent name right here. We scroll down, we got the property remarks. If you're licensed, we'll show you the private remarks in many markets, agent and office information. And then the algorithm automatically pulls comps. So these are all the real-time comparables. And so if like this property right here that's under contract closes, it will change to red, and usually like within the hour. So it updates live. So, and then we use the major property characteristics to comp the property out. So we've got a square foot tolerance of about 15%, plus or minus. We match up stories. We have similar tolerances for bedrooms and bathrooms, lot size, and it's all adjustable. So you can adjust the comp zone. Like right now, let's see, Western here is on the east or the west side. Like if I wanted to redraw this comp zone, I can just use the pencil icon and come in here and I can adjust this, and then it adjusts on the fly. And then if I were to say, you know what, this would make a good rental property for my client, I can just click share. And then it creates this email template, and I can just send this off to my client right from here. And then they can view this CMA on their computer or on their device. And they don't have to be a Privy user, but they get to see it because they're your client. And it's all interactive. It's not a static PDF or like some spreadsheet you have to send. Once you send this, they can actually come in and they can click in and be like, oh, what's going on with this house? And they can see this comp, and they can click into the comp and see, well, you know, what happened to this house here down the street? Like, how did they do that fix and flip? And so it's all completely interactive. Down below that, we have the before and after data on the flip itself. So this is the house over here on the left when they purchased it. They actually bought it at 75% of the ARV. They bought it for $700,000. They fix it up. Over here on the right is the timelines. So it was under construction for 245 days. That's the date from when they purchased it to when they relisted it. And then it was 36 days on market, and then a total of 281 days before or between when they bought it and when they put the check in the bank. So you might have clients that ask you, like, how long does a project take?
Yep.
Right. And so you might, dance around it, or you might say, you know what, the house we're looking at, it's kind of similar to a house that I saw that closed last week. And that one took, 4 months to close. Now, one property is not going to give us the full, insight into what's going on. But when you study these properties in your market, you start to become a local market expert. And there's a difference between having expertise in, just regular residential sales, where, you're helping people buy their first home that they're going to live in, compared to like giving them insight in how to make a better decision on buying an investment property. So this here is what I call local market education. There's a lot of good education you can get from, the classes they do at, at your office, and, the stuff that NAR does, and a lot of it's universal. But the nuts and bolts of this is like, what's happening in your target market on the ground? Like, what's sold yesterday? What did they buy it for? What did they sell it for? What was the percentage of ARV? Who were they? So this is another one of the cool things that we're good at, is we can identify potential investor clients for you. So if you are interested in working with clients, well, SoCal Residential Homes LLC is somebody you should consider targeting, because they just closed a deal. They just flipped this house. So likely they're looking for something else right now. Like, how cool of a strategy would be to, do a quick Google search on these guys, or do a skip trace, find their information, and then reach out and introduce yourself and say, hey, my name's Tawny. I'm an agent here in Los Angeles, and I saw you just close that house on South Harvard Boulevard. I mean, it looks great. Like, I love the way you guys did the kitchen. That porch is amazing. Like, I would spend so much time out there. But really, the reason why I'm calling is because, I'm an expert at finding investment properties for my clients. And, I'm always looking for more clients. I'm interested to know if you're looking for more properties. Is there a way I can help you? Right? That's how that conversation might go. But what we do is we leverage these comparative market analysis reports to bridge that conversation from a cold call to something that's more relevant and is going to be more engaging, and where they really want to talk to you because you've done some research, you sound like you know what you're talking about, and you're offering to provide help, right? Like, those things can go a long way.
See, what I really like about this here is that you see the before and after. You don't have to go find the research anywhere else. It's right there. So I love that. That's a great feature.
Yeah, and this one only has the one picture, but sometimes we've got all the pre-listing, and this one may have been one where they only put one, but sometimes it's really like, kind of disturbing. You see like, hoarder homes, and you see houses where there's like really poor pictures, and the ones where you can see the realtor just has his camera and he gets caught in the mirror, like those funny ones too.
Yeah.
But all this information is in one place. So what did we learn from this? Well, we learned that SoCal Residential Homes is doing deals today. And we know they'll buy a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,298 square foot ranch in 90062. So we've learned their buy box, right? Or at least a property that matches their buy box. And that, again, is intelligence that you can use to bridge that gap and have a conversation with that investor. So hopefully they'll want to work with you. You could actually export this list too into a CSV. So if I wanted to do a mailing campaign, I can click download. It will export all these properties into a CSV file. And then I can send this out via Yellow Letters or Print Genie or some other service and actually do like a buyer's outreach campaign. And we give you up to 10,000 free downloads per month with our software. And the software is only $97 a month. So it's not an expensive tool to use. But we do have the ability, let me see if this is, oh, here we go. Here is that report. So it's the subject property information. Over here on the right is owner information. And then we can see who all of the flippers are. JHS On Top Systems, Redwood Holdings, right? So we got a bunch of them here, and we can actually sort this. Looks like Redwood has more than one property they flipped recently. The other thing that we export is this link right here. So if you work out of a CRM, you could literally upload these as a CSV file into your CRM, and you would create a custom field in your CRM for the Privy affiliate or for the Privy link. So then that way, when you're in your CRM, you can click that link at any given time, and it will open up the comparative market analysis for that property and give you the real-time comps. It runs the comps automatically for you as you click it. So these are all live links. Again, those are shareable. You can send them to your clients. You can share them with people with your office. Maybe if you have an assistant who's somebody who's helping you manage leads, you can share those as well. So again, we give you 10,000 downloads. Now you can use those downloads for buyers, but you can always use them for off-market leads. So if I was going to go and I was going to try to find an off-market lead or maybe a listing, I'd still want to target high investor activity areas. Because again, if I'm going to try to measure how good a deal is based off of a percentage of ARV, I'm not going to want to go do that in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, because no one's flipping. But I would do it here because now all of a sudden the ARVs are there, and the ability for me to find a discounted deal is great because I can compare it to renovated homes. So if I were to click filter here, and let's say I wanted to find absentee owners or foreclosures or vacancy, zombie properties, senior owners, you can do that. And again, we give you 10,000, way more leads than you probably want to even try to manage, but that's all there for you too. And then it exports the owner information, the property information. You could do mailers only with that, or if you were going to do a cold call campaign, then you could take it to some skip tracing service like Lead Sherpa. There's tons of skip tracing services out there. I can recommend some if you have questions about that. And then do that cold call outreach. So what we did was that we come in and we research and we just look at the last 10 to 20 properties in my target market and really just kind of learn what a deal is. Like what's the sweet spot of where people are buying at. Maybe like, have you ever been in a situation where your client, says, oh, I need to be at this certain price, and you guys keep submitting offers and you just can't win a bid. Like somebody's always beating you out and you just don't know why. Well, the reason is because usually you don't know what a deal is in that market and what other investors are willing to do. So you could continue to submit blind offers, or you can educate your buyers and you can say, well, no, like there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 flips in this neighborhood, right? This is where we need to be percentage of ARV wise to be able to be competitive. And again, partly, it should be selfish. Like you don't want to continue to submit lowball offers that won't get accepted. But the other thing is you want them to win, right? You want them to get a deal.
Yes.
So this is where your opportunity is to be different and give them like good advice. Like how do you become that local market expert? Somebody who's a fiduciary who can give them advice and help them make a better decision. Because nobody wants to continue just to write offers and then just wasting all that time and work. Here's another deal. This one was purchased at 71% of the ARV. Oh, and by the way, our system tracks off-market acquisitions too. So if this was off-market, it would say public record here, and instead of having the MLS ID, and it would be the street view instead of the actual house pictures.
Okay.
And then again, assessor's data, MJVS Investments was the flipper on this one. So you can really just have a strategy of like, if you really want to dive deep into the investment market and go after, flippers, and so you can provide deals to them, then we can show you all of them. Great way to do that. And then of course, earlier I mentioned landlords. So let's say you didn't want to target flippers, but you wanted to target landlords to work with to help them find opportunities. You could just do the absentee owner list. But that's the cool thing about absentee owners. They're buyers and they're sellers. So you might call an absentee owner and start the conversation with, hey, I saw you just bought that property on XYZ. Want to see if you're looking for any more properties. And they might say, well, I'm not buying right now. Then the next follow-up question is, oh, really? Have you thought about selling anything? Do you have anything in your portfolio that's not performing that I can, take off the books, right? Something like that. So this is how you are going to find these areas, and this is how you're going to learn the market. The other thing is you have the same level of data nationwide. And I think we heard there's somebody here from Virginia, but likely, there's other people here doing stuff around the US. I can come up to, let's say, like a city like Chicago. Let's say you had some people that were interested in Chicago because you can find good deals. And Chicago is probably the third highest investor activity market in the whole United States. So let me adjust this. I'm going to reset. And again, this is another market where we've got direct to MLS. This is going to show us where the hottest area is. So this happens to be Southside Chicago. So this is the area where people talk about, the crime and all this stuff that's kind of happening in Chicago right now. But guess what's happening? They're flipping a lot of houses there. Investors are making a lot of money. So we would drill down here, and maybe you're thinking, man, I don't know this market. I'm from California. I don't understand it. Well, this is how I got comfortable with doing deals in St. Louis, was just by researching the closed deals, getting up to speed on what other investors are doing, what agents are doing, and then becoming that local market expert really quickly. So, here's some properties that were flipped. Right, here's an example of one.
Nice.
So 238, right? You're probably thinking, man, you can't even buy a garage in LA for that, right?
No.
So you come down to the before and after, and you can see the numbers here. So they bought this. It was an on-market deal. Now, one of the things I want to point out too is that with off-market, there's a lot of marketing costs involved in that, and effort, and a lot of salesmanship. And so what we've found by researching markets nationwide is between 60 and 70% of all deals come from the MLS. You just have to know where to look. You wouldn't want to look for on-market deals in Cody, Wyoming, because no one's flipping there. But you would want to look for on-market deals in these specific pockets and specific neighborhoods, because what it does is that renovated house turns all the unrenovated houses into deals. They bought it for $102,000. So that was 43% of the ARV, sold it for $238,000. So this is another example of one where you can see the before and after. Look at that before.
Mhm.
So this is like a real world fix and flip show, right? But
Yeah,
you get
it
to
is.
see it like the actual after product, and it's the real numbers. Look at this thing. It was under construction for 392 days.
Whoa.
Craziness. But this is right during that time when there was all the supply chain issues and people were having trouble getting building permits, and that's kind of the whole COVID scenario. And then of course we got the assessor's data, so we can see who's flipping these. But where the opportunity might be for you is maybe you can find them some stuff in your target market, but maybe you've got hungry investors that have really deep pockets that would invest in another market if you could give them a way of finding opportunities. So you can actually get them involved in the process. One of our clients, his name's Christian Chase. He actually happens to be an agent in Chicago. He actually has all of his clients get subscriptions to Privy, this software here. And then they go and they find the properties, they comp them out, they do the, getting their hands dirty and having fun with the system. And then when they find an opportunity, they send it to him and he just writes the offers. And get
Smart
this,
man.
he's closed over 350 deals that he got from Privy in the last 12 months. 350 properties. Now he's got a team. I think he's got like 25 agents on his team, but that's what's possible when you leverage this strategy here. Now, the next step here is there anything here that we can buy? So we actually have an algorithm that searches for deals. So right here at the top, it says find similar active deals. When you click that button, what Privy does is it now goes and runs comps on all the properties in this area. And it's only going to show us houses that have margins that we define. Now, the algorithm is set to 75% or less, but I know Chicago, so we're going to want to be lower than 55%.
Okay.
Because I know that there's buyers over there buying there. So we want to be competitive, right? We want to make sure that we can compete with these people. So let's adjust that. And let's say we want something that came on the market in the past month. Let's say also we talk to one of our clients and they say, you know what, I want a standard 200 grand, right? So you can basically build their buying criteria in here. Now, this is different than what you would do in your MLS, because the MLS, you can do stuff criteria like purchase price, beds, baths, square footage. But what you can't do in the MLS is set the discount, right? Because the MLS is not comping and these out and they're not looking for margins. So this is where we really start to set ourselves apart from what you can do in the MLS, because we've got some people, got lots of agent clients who use Privy, but they're always like, well, what do I need Privy for? I got the MLS. Well, these are some of the reasons. So here's a property you can buy right now. It's 139 grand. Looks like they're not interested in taking pictures of the interior.
Mhm.
And then down below that, if you look at the comparables, the reason why we flag this property as a deal is because here's the subject property, and these houses right here that are blue are sold homes that support the percentage of ARV that this house is lower than 55%.
Okay.
So it does the math for me. So it compares the ask price of the home to the price of the comp. So this one's for sale for $259. This one's sold for $284. This one's sold for $265. This one's sold for $259. The gray number is what they bought it for. So because we're looking at in a high investor activity area, we're able to compare this unrenovated house to renovated houses, and that creates the margins, which makes it easier to find the deals. So being very targeted and laser focused on these high investor activity areas will enable you to use our algorithm to find on-market deals like this one that you can buy for $139 at asking price. And that's without having to go in and submit a lowball offer. That's the other benefit of this, is that we're always concerned, we should be concerned about our reputation.
Right.
And word spreads fast that, if John Giggy is a lowballer, right, pretty soon everybody knows that John Giggy's going to come in and start submitting lowball offers, because, people, there's a reputation to it. And, John isn't doing it just because he wants to. It's usually the client guiding him, like, John, go in, $50,000 less than this one. And John's thinking, man, I don't want to do that. It's going to be rejected. They probably won't even respond, or they're going to be, because there'll be some choice words. But with this strategy, this is at lower than 55% at asking price. And then what we can do is we can compare this, right? This house right here on Forest. If we click that property, it slides in, and then we can open that up, and then we can see exactly what kind of renovation they did. So when you find these properties and you're trying to show them to your clients, you can say, hey, Mr. Client, we can get that house at 139. The house down the way was flipped and sold for 284. That puts us at about 55%. You said you wanted to be lower than 55. Here's the level of construction they did. So why don't we have your contractor go over there and get a scope of work to do this level of construction, right? So you can use these local properties as a guide to where the bar has been set. Like, you don't want to just do, what you would want to live in, or what your client does, or what you saw on some fix and flip show. You want to, match it to the level of the neighborhood. And that's where we give you more insight into that. So that's just one comp that shows that value. And then this one went for 265. This in my mind, it's actually, I like the color scheme a little bit better. It's not as neutral. But again, and you can get ideas too. Like, your clients can get ideas for, like, they can visualize what it's going to be, because you're showing them what other investors are doing. So I was able to find this property in a fraction of a second, and I know how complicated it is. So, like, let's say tomorrow there's 100 new properties that come on the market. Like, if you wanted to work with an investor, you'd have to go in and you'd have to run comps on 100 properties to find the 3 or 4 that are deals.
Right.
So what did you just do? You just spent your whole day running comps on 94 properties that you were going to say no to anyway. So this is a time saver, huge time saver. It's going to give you a lot of your time back, so you don't have to look at those 94 properties that aren't deals. You can just focus on the 5, 6 properties, or however many it finds, and you're just digging deeper into those. Because as much as, as good as our software is, like, it doesn't always get it right. Like, there's going to be some data that says it's a deal, but, like, maybe the comps on the north side of 94 right here, like, maybe it was over there. So that would be a false positive. But fairly quickly, as an agent, you could look at that and say, okay, here's the subject property. That house is north of 94. So unless I can find something down here that will help me, I'm going to pass on it, right? I don't want to waste my time. So you can pretty, quickly identify what's what is and what's not a deal. Or you might find anomalies, like maybe this house is, I mean, California is notorious for this. It has a view, or it's oceanside, right? Or those things can throw it off too. But again, fairly quickly, you can just come in and be like, all right, I'm going to hide all the oceanside comps and keep the ones that are inland. Or maybe you don't hide them, but maybe you just make an adjustment. Like maybe it's a 20% adjustment to the value. So you just multiply it times 0.8, and now that's your new adjusted value. I'm actually interested, Tony, do you know, I've always wondered about this. If you're comping a property and you got a house that's 2 streets in from the ocean and one is the comps on the ocean, can you use it and make an adjustment, or do you just have to not use it at all?
No, we make adjustment.
Is there a percentage?
Yeah, not exactly, because you have to make adjustments for if it's renovated or it's not, the kitchen, the size and all that. So you have to do more of a deep dive.
So there's no rule of thumb.
Yeah, to be able to make that adjustment.
Okay, that's good to know. So that's one market. Now the other thing that's cool about this is you can set these to work in an automated fashion. So I can come up here and click filter. And then down here, I click save search. And then I just put the name of the search here. Maybe this is my client, John Smith. So I'm going to call this the John Smith less than 55%, less than 200K search, right? And then I want to get updates on this every day. So I can just do every day. You can actually go up to every hour, depending upon how active you are. And then I would put John right here. You can put who also gets it. So this will go to your email, but you can also have it go to John Smith. Or you can have it go to multiple people. Let's just say you had a general search. You had 5 clients that all want deals in Inglewood. Well, you could create an Inglewood search and you could have it send to 5 clients all at once. Right, and then they'll get those emails. And again, they'll be able to open those up on their device, and they don't have to be a Privy user. But like I said, Christian Chase actually encourages his clients to go get the software so that they can do a lot of this, and then they're just sending him deals and he's just writing offers and giving feedback. And you can have unlimited searches. So you could have a search that runs in LA, and maybe you got another client that wants to buy some stuff in North Carolina, in Raleigh, Durham. Maybe you got another client who you go through the software and he's like, man, I really just want a new market. I'm tired of just, I want to get out of California and find another market. Well, you could use the data and log in, do a Zoom like this and go through it with them. Hey, let's find you a new market. Let's look at some different areas, right? And then they can get on with you and you can do that presentation. Or maybe you've got a YouTube channel and you put content out from time to time. You could do a live deal finding session yourself with Privy. And you go on and you just do a live stream, and now you want to go and attract people. You could say, just like Tawny's introduction, right? Like that would be very interesting to me, right? And then now if I'm watching YouTube and I see that Tawny has the ability to go out and find deals all over the place, well, I would want to work with an agent who knows how to do that. So it's a way to elevate yourself in the minds of investor clients, thinking that you can provide value above and beyond what the average agent can provide. Or, the agents that go and just get all of those designations on their cards. There's just rows of designations. And it says, I'm an expert in buying, selling, I'm an expert in foreclosures and short sales and this and that. And it's like, okay, you can't be an expert in everything, right? What are you really an expert in? And this is a way of demonstrating expertise and market knowledge and know-how. So you guys, that's the software in a nutshell. Like there's a lot of other really, cool bells and whistles, but really just like finding the needle in the haystack like this can make you a lot of money. And it also too, like you can find opportunities for yourself. I'm actually curious, is there anybody here that invests themselves?
Mm-hmm.
Anybody invest themselves?
I'm looking.
Yes.
Yes, I heard a yes.
Okay, good. We got at least one. But so this one you can buy for 35 grand. Look at some of the numbers on these flips: 160, 175, 169. Look at these percentages of ARV. Look at that. That's crazy.
Wow. So my brother lives in Chicago and his boyfriend's getting his real estate license. So he's gonna
Oh,
love this.
oh yeah. Very cool. So, last couple things here. So you can run comps on any property you want just by typing it into the search bar here, and Privy will pull comparables and build that comparative market analysis for you in a fraction of a second. That's on a one-off basis. You can run comps on multiple properties at once by uploading into our list feature right here. So if you click lists and you go to upload, you could upload a list of, let's say, maybe you got a probate attorney buddy and they've got a list of probates. Well, all you need is the address. So you can just click upload, and then you can upload a CSV, and you might have 500 probates for Los Angeles County. You could just upload it here, and Privy will build a comparative market analysis and run comps on all those properties in less than a minute.
Oh, I like that. Oh, that's a great tool.
Yeah, I love that one. So that is the tool in a nutshell, you guys. What questions do you have? I'm curious to see, what your perspective is on this. If you think it would be beneficial. We're adding in more and more direct to MLS markets. You saw the red on the map, but with the blue, we're already over 90 direct to MLS markets.
John, do you have a question?
How did you know? Real Flow offers templates and letters and things like that. Once you've captured the information, the data, do you guys do the same thing?
No, we're not a marketing platform, so we don't have any marketing functions. We're not going to do text blasts or ringless voicemail or mailers. There's other platforms out there like that. I actually mentioned Print Genie earlier. There's a company that I know of that is good at that, but we're trying to really stay really focused on the data and our identifying opportunities and tracking investment activity. So, but RealFlow is great. I know a lot of people that use it. We actually recommend that to some of our clients.
Awesome. And then the other question I had is, do you have something that can work for teams? Because
We do not currently have a team structure, but if for some reason like you needed multiple accounts, we could put something together for you, like a discounted package. But I do know that in the development roadmap, the team is working on a multi-seat license that would work for teams.
yeah, because I'm part of the GIA team, which is how EXP is structured. So I'm part of that team, and that's Gary Wilson, and so he is central focus on investments, and so he's actually been an investor for many years, and so everybody has their own niche in the team of EXPs, right? All the different teams. And so his is specifically targeting investments and equipping and teaching and coaching investors. So I'm going to share this with him, but he's probably going to want to figure out how we can bring this into the whole GIA team and have all the agents there take advantage of it.
What does GIA stand for?
Global Investment Agent.
Global Investment Agent. Okay. So it's a whole niche, like subgroup of EXP.
Yeah, you know how so EXP has different teams, and right, because we're not all, but a lot of us are focused on agent attraction.
Right.
So instead of having your own traditional team in an office and you have maybe a 10, 15 or so, you have teams all across the country. We're all independent. I'm just under an umbrella of GIA per se. And so,
Gotcha.
and then each leader has their gift, right? Some people are coaches and some people, are, there's been top producers in the resale and the residential area. And so when it comes to Gary Wilson, his specialty is investments. So this would be an awesome platform for us to use. So I'm going to share that with him and we'll see. What's your contact information? Who can I contact?
So John, I put it in the chat.
Awesome.
The link where you can click. So everyone is in the chat.
Awesome.
There's the chat for sure.
And then Gloria, I don't know why you can't unmute because everyone else can. So I don't know. Maybe type in the chat what your question is.
I'm going to put my phone number in the chat too. Is that okay, Tawny?
Oh, of course.
if people have questions.
Who
So
else has a question?
This is an affiliate link. Is that what that is?
Yes, it's taking you there.
Perfect. Awesome.
And there's my contact info.
Perfect.
Okay, so Gloria wants to know, does Privy show market trends?
Not in like in a graph format, but you can identify trends by tracking investment activity. So I'm curious about which market trends you're looking for, Gloria. Like appreciation. I think that you'll be able to do more of that, but with this strategy here, it isn't showing you like specific trending areas, but you can see all the activity at that
Okay.
moment in time, and then you can go back and then you can see stuff that like you get stuff that was flipped today, and maybe they got it at 52% of the ARV, and then you can look at something that was flipped 3 months ago and they got it at 60% of the ARV, and you say, oh wow, well these two houses are 3.2s in the same neighborhood. Looks like investors are being a little bit more conservative with their acquisition strategies.
Okay, so she's looking at appreciation, loss of it, and a lack of sales. It's a trend she's trying to track.
Nothing like that per se. With this strategy I'm showing you now, the key is finding those properties that are opportunities based off of what other investors are currently doing in the market.
Okay. Hiroko, do you have a question?
I'm okay so far. Maybe I have more in the future.
Okay. What about you, Tanji?
I didn't have a question. I was just saying I liked it, what this program had to offer, far as finding the properties and to see that you can kind of narrow it down. Because like he said, when it comes to doing the comps, it is very time consuming. And
Yes.
like you said, you can imagine doing 90 of them versus doing the 90. The program just kind of just simplified it. That's why I put the comment that I like it.
I agree with
Yeah,
you.
thanks for that.
I agree with you, especially the before and after. I like that part too.
The other
What
good thing
about
too
you,
is like if
Keisha?
you're not spending time comping, guess what you're doing? You're talking to new clients, right? You're doing
That's right.
showings and you're going to closings. Like you're spending time on money making activities, not the tedious, monotonous manual work of running comps and searching for opportunities for clients. Like that is a lot of brain damage.
It is. It's time consuming and wasting. And that's one thing we never get back is time. So no, I definitely appreciate this.
Awesome.
Keisha or Chris? And that's it, Uma or Dan.
No questions. It's going to require some research and very interesting though.
Thanks, Dan. Appreciate it. Well, if anybody has questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'm thinking that, we may do something like this and again in the future with Tawny.
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely. So can you show us, since we're all here with quite a bit of the San Fernando Valley, what's happening in the San Fernando Valley market?
Yeah, where exactly is
Well,
that?
let's see. I know I said San Fernando Valley.
San Fernando Valley. You mean like
yeah.
Inland Empire?
No, San Fernando Valley is in LA County. It's right next to Los Angeles.
So it's going to be west of the 405,
Yes,
but
right.
over
Oh, there you go.
the
That's
hill,
good.
right?
Yeah.
So more like Woodland Hills.
So it's more north, like up here?
Yeah, it's right before Santa Clarita. So
North
yeah.
Ridge, Chatsworth. So that area right in there is really good. North Ridge, Chatsworth.
You also got Granada. Yeah, Granada Hills.
Granada Hills.
Yeah.
So not a lot of activity.
Yeah.
Not relative to down here.
Okay.
Yeah, not a lot.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot maybe out in Sherman Oaks or Hidden Hills, probably more, but not very much in either of those areas.
Yeah, I'm seeing that right now. What's happening with our valley?
Yeah, it's not a ton.
What number do you focus on? Like, is there a certain threshold? Like, you have a 48 or 45? Do you go anything like above a certain number?
No, it's a good question. I think it's relativeness. So you got to think about like the opportunity cost. Do I want to spend time looking for something in San Fernando, which there's not much, or do I want to look where there might be more opportunities?
Rather
Right.
like
So
where the
it's almost
48
like
at.
limited time, limited bandwidth. Where can you get the best ROI on your time? But no, there isn't really a threshold there.
Can you click on the 48? I see your mouse is at right there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what we started at originally. And this is, again, will show us those properties.
Okay, so that's the hot spots.
Mm-hmm.
The South LA area.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Didn't see much in the valley. There was on like 7s and 12s. Where this had like 48.
Yeah.
And you said that this has the ability to look up pre-listings, right?
Yeah, well, we call them off-market
Market, yeah.
properties, right? So anything that might be, someone who was interested in selling, so you could use like these public record type filings, like pre-foreclosures or vacant properties, maybe senior owners, absentee owners. A
Mhm.
tired landlord is an absentee owner who has owned the property longer than 10 years. A zombie property is a house that's both vacant and an absentee owner.
How do they know that about the zombie properties?
Yeah.
Well, we know it's an absentee. That's how they bought it. They bought it non-owner occupied. And then the USPS, the post office, reports to the county when they have a list of all their vacancies. And then we just cross-reference those and give you one bucket.
Gotcha.
And the tired landlord?
So that's, again, an absentee owner. And then we're just looking at when they bought it compared to today. So that's over 10 years. We'll show it to you.
Oh, I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the tired landlord is something I like.
Uh-huh.
And the pre-foreclosure is interesting. Huh.
Mm-hmm. And then, again, we give you 10,000 of these for free with your Privy account per
Can you-
month.
Can you do a snapshot of the pre-foreclosures? I'm just kind of curious to see where we're going with that.
Yeah, it's either going to be pre-foreclosures or foreclosures. They're essentially the same thing, just in different markets. They call them different thing. But this here is not REOs. This would be a foreclosure. But let's check. Let's reset this real quick. If we want off market, you just test it. So pre-foreclosures.
Mm-hmm.
So in this case, it's going to be the foreclosures. It's going to be the one.
And these are not REOs. These are the ones that has notice of defaults.
Notice of defaults.
Okay.
Wow,
Jeez.
that's
Really?
a lot.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's huge.
I know.
Go get REO certified.
Wow. Okay, so they tell you, okay, the reds are all the sold.
Yeah, so this is off market. It sold 11/21. And then we comp it out for you. So we show you the concurrent comparables, show you the rental comps if we have them. And there is one fix and flip in the neighborhood.
Huh.
So you know what the ARV is, so you can figure out like what the offer would be, depending upon, what percentage you need to be at.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for allowing me to present. I hope that was interesting for you. Maybe you learned a couple things.
I do have one more question. So I did look at your site and it looks like you have a couple options, annual or monthly.
Mhm.
And if you would do the annual, it says that you get some something additional, I think it was.
Yeah, there's some additional bonuses.
Yeah, there was the what was it? Free featured upgrades.
Yep. So if you do go with the annual plan, when we launch our long-term rental feature as well, right after that, we're going to be launching a short-term rental. Where have you guys have heard of AirDNA possibly? It's a short-term rental website to find like short-term rental comps. We're going to have that in Privy too, but it's going to be an upgrade for people who don't buy the annual plan. So you'll get those for free when they come.
Gotcha.
Well, that's interesting.
And then as we add more MLSs nationwide, you don't have to pay additional for those. You get those for free.
Huh, so it's like an Airbnb comps.
Yeah, you're going to be able to come in here, by August, we'll have a short-term rental launch too. So you'll be able to look for short-term rental properties that you can buy for less than $200,000 as an absentee owner, and we'll have a 10% cap rate.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Right, John?
How long
Wheels are turning.
I know, right?
has the company been around?
10 years.
Wow.
Yeah. We're no spring chicken. We've been around for a bit.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Appreciate the time.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Let me know if you have any questions. Also connect with Tawny if you do have any questions as well. But I really appreciate the opportunity. Thank you so much.
Great information, Benson. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Bye, everyone. Have a great day.
Have a great day, everyone. I'm
Thank you
glad
very
you're interested
much.
in this, Gloria. Yeah, the Airbnb is pretty cool to be able to comp that out for our investors. I definitely agree with you.
Thank you, Tony.
You're welcome, Hiroko. See you later.
See you soon.
See you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.